As I sit here in front of this giant $1,500 Batman statue, I have 5 questions for you. Number 1, why is his head wrapped in toilet paper? Number 2, do you think that Bruce Wayne became Batman because he was bored as a billionaire? He could do anything he wanted? Number 3, do you think this may be the greatest Batman statue ever made? As a spoiler for the review today, I think it might be. Number 4, do you think Bruce Wayne would use the coldest water bottle? I mean, look, matches. Last, did you know he not only has 1 head, but 2 heads, 3 heads, 4 heads, 5 heads? So the real question, can you ever have too much head? Zzz. As the Extreme channel is pushing towards 50,000 subscribers, these are just a few of the statues we are giving away on the journey there. If you want to know how to win one, stay tuned for later in the video. Before we kick off the review of this incredible piece, shout out to the coldest water bottle. It is the only thermostat I use. They do pay me to say that. Well, actually not really. But if you buy something, I do make money off that, but we use this all the time, seriously. So go ahead and check that out. We have 3 or 4 in our actual household. Keep stuff cold for days. They have all shapes, colors, and sizes. And in the link below, you can not only win one, but also go to their website and get a discount. Pick some up for sure. It's one of the best purchases we've made in a while. Disclaimer, I didn't buy this one, but the other 3 we own, I did buy after I got this one because they're so great. Hey everybody, welcome to the Extreme channel where we are reviewing this giant 1/3 scale Batman Hush statue from Prime One Studios. So first of all, Batman Hush is a Batman Hush storyline where the villain, who wears toilet paper all over himself, actually is trying to kill Batman. He enlists the help of many other people. There's many other DC characters involved in that. I actually own 2 other statues from the Hush series. First is my favorite Superman statue right here. Then also their Poison Ivy. Now 1/3 scale means that it's 3 times smaller than a real life version. Now believe it or not, this is their second Batman Hush statue that they've done and probably their 2000th Batman statue that they've ever done. Their first Batman Hush statue right here wasn't in the Batcave. I actually used to own it, and I had some issues with it, so I ended up getting a refund and returning it to the distributor. And I'm so glad I did, because honestly, I think this one blows that one away. As I said in the intro, this very well may be the best Batman statue that has ever been made. I am absolutely loving it. We're going to do an extreme review on this piece today. We're going to look at paint, sculpt, concept, all of that, all the different switch outs. We're going to talk about the value of this piece, and there is a lot to cover, so let's just dive right in. All right, let's kick it off with concept of this piece, and honestly, this is why it's so fantastic. Now, it's actually Batman in his Batcave. I actually own a Batcave. It's in the 1/4 scale, so it's a little bit smaller, even though the number is bigger. Basic math, figure that out. But you can check out the review right here. And I do have another custom piece on order, but he's more in the black outfit, and the cave is very much different. But looking at the bottom here, I love that they incorporated the cave. Not only do you have the cave and you have stalagmites, I believe mites are the ones coming from the bottom, but you have bats, and you have bats everywhere. Not only all over the Batcave and his computer screen and equipment, but you see them all over him. He's doing this runway walk with his bat screen on the right. Looks very determined, very pissed. He's coming out of the Batcave. He has a whole bunch of different switch outs for his arms and his portrait that we're going to look at during design. He's got his cape in one hand. It's flowing back behind him. Follow the theme of that runway walk. And he looks badass doing a runway walk. I mean, me, I look stupid, but not Batman. Batman is pissed. He is ready to take on Hush or the other enemies that are after him. I love this. This encompasses everything I've ever wanted in a Batman statue. And its size. Its size honestly does do a lot for the statue because, let's face it, size does matter.
That's what she said.
So I love the concept of this piece. I think Prime One Studios knocked it out of the park. I think it's a 5 out of 5 on the concept. Moving into design, they did some other amazing things. But there's one big concern I have, and it's actually one of the reasons I love the concept. But before we look at that, let's look at the unboxing. An incredibly difficult assembly, because figuring out where all these bats go really sucked ass. 2 giant fucking boxes, which is kind of expected. Here's a picture of one of the art boxes, nothing fancy. So the first box had the classic styrofoam, but the portraits were actually hidden in the top of it, so you could have easily missed them. But here they are right here. Then the next layer was essentially the base and a few other small pieces. And then the other box had all the bats, his legs, a few of his arms, and finally Batman's torso and a few of the additional pieces. So they did have instructions, but let's face it, the instructions sucked. Some of the bats may even be in the wrong place, but I'm pretty sure they're where they're supposed to be. And you also saw me, I had to get assistance from Mrs. X. And the reason I had to get assistance is because I was trying to face Batman to the camera when I put on his upper torso. Once I turned him towards me, it was pretty easy to do, so you probably can do it one-handed. Now the big negative of the design, before we talk about the good stuff, is the size. It is just simply too big. So the widest point, now the exact dimension should be on Prime One's website, is probably over 29 inches wide. The deepest point with this cape, probably about 27. And the tallest point with the bat, way up there, I don't even know. It's probably like 33, 34 inches. I would stand up, but I'm so excited about this statue, I don't want you guys to see. As you probably saw during the assembly, he weighs so much. He weighs over 60 pounds. It actually stopped my turntable from rotating. The size really limits your display options. Now he's actually going right in the center of all my 1/3 scale statues. Right in the middle of all the other Batmans, the villains behind him. If you want to see what that looks like, check out the Extreme Channel Instagram, Facebook page, and TikTok. Now let's talk about display options. So this is the deluxe bonus version. It has every switch out option available. There are other versions that don't have as many display options. So first, this has, as we said, 5 portraits. First portrait that comes with every single statue is Batman with a little bit of a grumpy face. Not my favorite. Another one where he has a little bit of a smirk on him, and I like this because it kind of changes the storyline. Now this is with the exclusive or the exclusive bonus. Exclusive bonus, or the exclusive, also has the unmasked portrait. Now, we're going to look at all these with paint and sculpt. I really like this, but I don't like it as much on Batman. Then you have the one with his gritted teeth. And the one with the toilet paper on the head. So as I said, these are actually bandages because I believe the villain in Hush actually had bandages on him, so I think it's kind of a tribute to that. You have 3 arm options. The regular version just comes with the fist on the left hand. The bonus version, or exclusive bonus version, both of those come with a Batarang, which is probably my favorite. Didn't think it would be. And then the grappling gun. Now another thing with the bonus or the bonus deluxe version, you have 3 bust displays. Check these out. This is fantastic because I like a lot of these portraits. During value, we'll talk a little bit more about the differences between the different variations that you can get, but I think all those display options are awesome. Also with display, I think they did an amazing job with design. You saw the packaging, how they made sure everything worked really well. There is a light up feature as you see on the bat screen here. Then here's a picture with it on. Now the bats are plastic, but as you see in paint and sculpt, they look pretty good. And I think they had to do that for weight purposes. I am a little bit worried some of them might fall out, but we'll see how long they last. Some of them are held in by friction with keys. Some of them are magnets. But I love how they have the illusion that they're kind of flying everywhere. I think that's fantastically done. So despite the crappy assembly, I still think they did a fantastic job on design. 5 out of 5. Things are still a little bit loose, but they went really ambitious. And hey, it's displaying fine, so it seems to work, so I gotta give them props for that. If you recall, there was a lot of controversy with their last Batman Hush that the heavy cape actually caused it to lean. Hopefully there's nothing like that down the road. Paint and sculpt. Prime One Studios, this is kind of their game. They're 1/3 DC pieces. They always do great. While there's a few things on here that I think could use improvement to be perfect, the rest of it's pretty damn good. Take a look. Alright, so now while it's not without its flaws, let's dive in here because there's some pretty cool things. And I think starting with the portraits, we'll look at all of them here, but here is the one with the bandages wrapped around it. They look fantastic. Really reminds me of that custom mummy piece I had. I like the layering on them. There's a lot of detail up close, some texture to kind of bring it to life. Now, the rest of the look here, other than the eye, what's pretty cool is typically on the comic-based Batmans, you have a whited out eye. Here you can actually see his pupil. So this whole statue is evident that he's either in a fight right now or he's just been in a fight. And that's, you know, part of the concept. He's kind of charging forward to fight again. Maybe the enemy's in his lair or the Batcave. So here's another one right here. What I like about this is the colors they used on the cowl. I think there's a little bit too much black shading all over the statue, and you see that evident here, but it's almost like a reflective color. They did a great job with the skin tones. Other than the unmasked portrait, they didn't go too rosy, which is what I like. There's a little bit of a 5 o'clock shadow on all these. They did a really nice job on the teeth. That's evident on this portrait as well. Really quick, here's this unmasked portrait, and again, I think this looks fantastic. Classic Bruce Wayne, they did a great job. You can tell how clean the paint is in between the hair, the eyebrows. There you see a little bit of more of a rosiness. The red around the skin tones, whether it's his eyes or the chin down here. Just really fantastic look. Great job on those portraits. Now, as we dive into the statue itself, like I said, you see that black shading kind of everywhere, whether it's on his blue cape, his blue gloves, the gray suit. I think there's too many folds, and I'm not digging how they portrayed the torso. The anatomy looks great, but I think it's just too much. It's executed extremely well, though, so I'm really not bashing them for the paint and sculpt, just maybe not my style. The belt looks fantastic, and again, it has a lot of that shading in it, but the pouches here on his utility belt, it's got a decent sized package. He just has it all. Great musculature in the legs here. Again, all those folds kind of add a little bit too much to it, but it just tells that overall story that he's been in the battle. You see that on the gloves here too. The folds, the black shading. And what I like is none of this looks like it's brand new. He's not a brand new Batman just walking out. And same thing with the cape, all that battle wear on there. Nothing torn or anything. Cape just has a ton of presence here too, with the size of it. Now regarding the bats, even though they're a plastic, I think they look pretty decent. There's some detail in the hair on the backs. You can see the beady little red eyes. Kind of hard to get it to focus because there's so much stuff going on here. Apologize for that. Little beady red eyes right there. And how they key into each other really adds to that fine effect. So even though they're plastic, as you move back, I think it's acceptable. The bat symbol looks great. Classic Batman hush. Now the metallic parts of the Batcave I like as well. They're a very, very dark gray. There's a lot of scratches all over them, again, insinuating a battle or a fight. Some of the electronics here, some cords and vents. There are decals on the computer here, but it doesn't look too corny or cheesy. So I think they did a nice job with the choices on there. Here is the screen with the light off. With the light on camera, you can't really see it as well. I like the rock parts of the cave as well. There are a few parts where it does look plasticky. It actually looks better on the camera than it does in real life, and typically it's the opposite of that. So overall, fantastic sculpt. I love the flow of everything. A little bit too many folds, a little bit too much black shadowing. They could have gone maybe about 10 to 15% less, I think, and it would have made it better. But it's still phenomenally done all around. And there's so much going on. You can even tell some of the focus problems I'm having with the camera because there's just so much to this statue. And while they didn't do it all perfect, they did it pretty damn well, and they did a lot of things really well. So I think that's what's really impressive about this. All right, like I said, a little bit on the cave on the bottom. I think that's more of a 4 out of 5. Same thing with the bats. But the rest of Batman I absolutely love. I remember they fixed one of the things in his torso when they initially showed the prototype. The unmasked portrait, like I said, it looks weird because it looks better off the body than it does on. But I still got to give him a 5 out of 5 on the paint. It's such a dark statue, but it lights up pretty well, I think. And the sculpt, I also think, is phenomenal. While he's a little too muscly and wrinkly on the clothes for me, I still think it was designed that way, so even though it's not my preference, I still think it's done well. It's a weak 5, so it's not as strong as the paint, I think, but I'm really impressed with that. All right, so value on this piece. Now, they made 2,500 total. 1,000 are like this. They have everything you see here. Another 1,000 are just like this, but they don't have the toilet paper head. That's the only difference. Those 2,000 pieces, the exclusive and the exclusive bonus, all retailed right around $1,370. Now, you could save $300 and only get one portrait, the grumpy face, and the left hand with just the fist. And they made 500 of those. So 2,500 total, price $1,050 to $1,350, plus shipping is anywhere from a couple hundred to $1,000 depending on where you're at in the world and the method you choose. So for a Batman statue, honestly, this is a lower edition size. I mean, a lot of Batman statues are 3,000 or 4,000 or 5,000, but it makes it hard to display, and this is also the second version of the Hush. While I think this blows away the previous version, I still think the previous version is pretty good. Now, if I'm ever going to ship this anywhere, even locally, you're probably talking $300-400 shipping. So just to get my money back, it's over $2,000. So for those reasons, and the variety of Batman statues you can buy, even though I think this is a fantastic statue, I think the value is still only a 3 out of 5. And I think one of the reasons you can tell is this is still available at retail from distributors. So overall, does this have the X factor? Is this a 5 out of 5 statue? I think it is. I mean, this is amazing. It blew away my expectations. I'm so stoked to have him. I think it's the best Batman statue in my collection. I still have about 10 1/3 DC pieces coming in. When those come in, we're going to do a countdown with all 25 that I own or so. Very impressed with this guy. I think Prime One Studios did a fantastic job. Do you think this is the best Batman statue? Throw that down in the comments below. The reason I asked you to comment is because you could win a prize. We will be giving all of these statues away, plus additional ones at every 5,000 subscriber milestone. To win one of these statues, all you have to do is make sure you've liked this video, you've subscribed to the channel, you've hit that bell notification, and then just drop a comment below. Every 5,000 subscriber milestone, we are going to do a random drawing and pick a random comment and give one of these statues away, plus some additional ones I'm not showing right now. The more videos you comment on, the higher your chances are to win. Again, thanks for tuning in, guys. Please hit that like button. It really helps the channel. Drop a comment. And if you haven't subscribed, you like stuff like this, make sure to tune in. Also, check out the social media sites while you check out some of these other videos. Damn, that's a lot to do, Mr. X. Talk to you soon. Take care.